Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to New Jersey Revolution Radio here on the live stream this evening. We're going to have Diane Moxley, who, of course, is our Green Party candidate for CD7 in Congress. We're also joined tonight by John Palmucci. John is on the state executive committee of the Socialist Party of New Jersey. They recently endorsed Diane, so we welcome John to join our discussion tonight about, electoral politics and what's going on in the world of anti-capitalists participating in elections. Thanks for joining me tonight, guys. Um, so
Thanks for
before
having us.
No problems. Before we get into the discussion, I want to remind everybody that we're having a GoFundMe fundraiser. We're smacking it everywhere. We're being somewhat shameless because we are trying to raise enough money to do a really good job for another 100 episodes. We're celebrating 100 episodes in Montclair, October 18th at the Trend Coffee and Tea House. Come on by. It's nothing to get in. Just make sure you buy a cup of coffee or take care of that small business who treats their workers good there. And come celebrate 100 episodes, but also help us fund that next 100 episodes. So you can go, it's all over our Facebook page. If you go to the homepage at www.njrevolutionradio.com, it's right there at the top of the page. You can click 5, 10, 25, $100, whatever you can do. We appreciate it. Thank you very much for bearing with me as I beg for money here. Diane, how's the campaign going? How are you? We haven't talked in a few weeks. How's it been?
Good, good. We've all been very busy with our volunteers. Today, we spent the day canvassing at the Westfield Festival.
Mm.
Great response. But yeah, we're doing lots of canvassing. We had a great event last Sunday with Dr. Margaret Flowers. We did a public forum on improved Medicare for all. So things are going well. We're full steam ahead on Tuesday. We've just got 6 weeks left. So, if I could do my little plug for, we are not taking any corporate donations. So we need people power. We need volunteers. So you could message our best way is the website. So it's moxleyforus.com. There's a link for volunteering.
Okay.
So plenty of time. We're going to just keep on going every minute of the day. I do have to, because we are a party of the working class. I am still working. I've reduced my hours, but I have bills to pay, unlike
Yes.
my opponents who get to take a few months off because they're part of the elite class.
Yeah.
I am not. So we need as many, volunteers as possible to get our message out. But our message is really resonating with the voters. I was really surprised, even in downtown Westfield.
Why were you surprised? What when you talk about the message resonating, talk about that. What are your experiences? Just give us an example today. You're out there, you're talking to your average voter in CD7. What are you talking about that's resonating?
And I'll touch on, we've been spending recently a lot of time in Garwood, but we've done Somerville, we've done Dover, we're doing events, and we're, plugging away. I thought our message would be more an intentional reach with the unaffiliated voters who are in more working class communities. So when we're in a place like downtown Westfield, we would think that we're in a pocket of a little bit more affluence. But even there, people are struggling with student loan debt. They're worried about their children going to college, their young adult children finding jobs that pay living wages. And extremely common, even today in Westfield, was the concern about healthcare costs, even with the Affordable Care Act.
Mm. Well, I think, I don't see that we've really done anything to help healthcare costs for the average American through the Affordable Health Care Act, despite the claims of it doing good things. Providing more people with coverage they can't afford doesn't really help a lot.
Yeah, our premiums go up and up. Our copays go up and up. Our list of doctors shrinks. And, I look at the Affordable Care Act as really just a subsidy for private health insurance companies. We need to take out the middle guy, and that money should be going to our healthcare providers so we can get a better quality of healthcare. And that's what improved Medicare for All does.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can get more and more people talking about it and affect change through campaigns like yours. Want to take a time to recognize, of course, our comrade John Palmucci. How you doing, brother? Nice to have you here tonight.
Good. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I've been working with people in Socialist Party for years now. A lot of good comrades, a lot of great anti-capitalist conversation had there, and it's always nice to work in coalition with Socialist Party on a number of different issues. And healthcare is just one of them. The $15 an hour thing, all kinds of stuff. It's fun. So tell us about, for those people that may be listening to this that aren't familiar with Socialist Party and Socialist Party New Jersey. We have Pat Noble on all the time.
Right.
But give us an overview for our newcomers. What's Socialist Party up to in New Jersey?
The Socialist Party in New Jersey. Well, I mean, whoops. Sorry about that.
Don't worry about it.
Socialist Party in New Jersey. We have we're kind of spread out in the Central Jersey area. There's some of us all over the place. I'm in Woodbridge. We got Pat in Red Bank, and members just like all up and down the like the Atlantic coast. In North Jersey, there's we have a lot of members in the Montclair and Bloomfield areas, and they've been able to, really make a big impact and like take a role in their like communities there. And it's just been like, definitely awe-inspiring watching all that go down. I mean, I'm relatively new to any kind of organized political work. I joined the Socialist Party myself 2 years ago, right after the election, because that's what you do. You join these things after the fact. Once you realize, oh no, what did we do?
Right.
It's like, in truth, for a year before that, I had been, I was into the whole Bernie thing, and there's just something was off about it. And I had heard about the Socialist Party from a friend, and I just took my time and learned about it. And just like, I really think this is where I should be. It's a multi-tendency, socialist organization. If you're a socialist, it's a good place to be, in my opinion.
Cool. Well, so here in New Jersey, you're involved in electoral politics. I know you've been running candidates for all levels of office, notably a couple of governor's candidates. I believe Greg Payson, who's an amazing activist and a dude I really have a ton of respect for. He's got a great history of standing up for social justice in the state. He's run for governor and other offices. And then you've, of course, had some success even in New Jersey with Pat Noble, who's an elected school board member there in Red Bank. So how does we talk a lot in some of these organizations about electoral politics and its role in social revolution. How does Socialist Party use elections as part of an overall revolutionary strategy?
I do believe there's, certain comrades have different feelings to that end. In my opinion, it's electoral politics should be used as a platform to get ideas across, like how Eugene Debs did, a notable American socialist and one of the leaders of the original Socialist Party of America. I don't think Debs had any illusions of ever winning or becoming president. That wasn't like the point. The point was he was an incredible orator, extremely eloquent, and he had the credentials. He was an instrumental part of the labor movement who, I think it's got to be something where it's those of us who are active in our communities, who are part of all these other movements that fall under kind of like the umbrella of left wing or socialist politics. Yeah, we have to get out there and use this as a platform. Hey, if you win, I'm not going to say that's a bad thing. I might be a little interesting to see how that goes, but yeah, to me, the use of electoral politics is so much more than just this winning and then it, like having the power for yourself, because that's not really the kind of power socialists want.
Diane, do you see, now drawing parallels to people like Eugene Debs is humbling, but you are running as an open socialist. You're a green, but you've said all over in many, I don't think I've seen an appearance where you haven't touted socialist credentials, eco-socialism in particular.
Yes.
Is that how you see electoral politics? I mean, I think maybe you do want to win, right? But
oh, sure. I mean, we're running a very, very serious campaign, working my butt off, getting many miles of walking in every day.
She's not lying, people. She's not lying.
But yes, it also acts as a way of getting our message out about eco-socialism. I'm glad, after Bernie, we're getting people being a lot more comfortable talking about socialism. There's this fear, but we have, I went through a list and I know we all might feel differently about different people, but, in recent times, we have a local like Chris Hedges in the Princeton area. He considers himself a socialist. Throughout history, we have authors like, George Orwell considered himself a socialist. Albert Einstein considered himself a socialist. Helen Keller. I had a list, but I don't have it on me today, of just the people that, your average everyday person doesn't realize that, it's not something we need to be afraid of. It's about workplace democracy. It's about, worker-run cooperatives. It's not something that has to be terrifying to people. And then, yes, it's implementing things in our platform that are going to help the working class. We've been forgotten. I don't know if our political system has ever worked very well for the working class. We've had our peaks with unions, but we can see over the past few decades, it's not just the right to work laws, it's the unions themselves that, I'm a union girl. I'm actually a member of a union. I'm a member right now of the National Organization of Legal Services Workers under a local under the UAW. Although I am now a part-time worker.
Still in the cause. Still paying dues?
Still paying dues.
Still paying dues, and you're still in the cause. There you go.
And I, was a union member for 14 years, so I love unions. But we all know certain unions have just been, completely in line with the neoliberal democratic platform, and workers are losing a lot.
Well, we are seeing, and I think that the way you approach some of those problems is you have to have, anti-capitalists that are union members seek out and play roles in their union and both in their union leadership and rallying with the union membership and showing that new way of leadership, because I think, and I'm inside that cause all the time. There's still a tendency to support politicians just to have access to power rather than having influence with power, and those are two very different things. John, I wanted to ask you, so particularly with Diane, so now that you've endorsed Diane, I know there's groups out there that may say, okay, we endorse you, here's a piece of paper, you can put out a post, and congratulations on being endorsed. What in the way of, but that only goes so far. What in the way of supporting candidates does the Socialist Party do for candidates, particularly in a place like this where it's not really a Socialist Party candidate, right? There's a Green candidate, you're cross-endorsing. I know the Greens, like myself, are happy about that. But what does that mean for the candidate in terms of getting messaging out?
I think, well, first and foremost, I think it means Socialist Party members are going to show up and help with this campaign. As far as like getting the message out, like we actually just shared the announcement about the endorsement. What was it, yesterday or 2 days ago? I think maybe it was Friday. Yeah. Okay. I actually checked this morning on the Socialist Party of New Jersey Facebook page, and it said it's reached over 3,000 people so far. So it's an additional platform for her. Additional people getting the word out. Also, additional people, defending her, because it's tough. It's tough to run outside of the two-party system, no matter who you are.
That's true.
As a woman running against two men, especially two men like Leonard Lance and Tom Malinowski.
Tomahawk Tom. We prefer to call him Tomahawk Tom here.
That takes, that really takes a considerable amount of courage, and we have to support a person who does that, especially when their politics are aligned with our own,
Yeah, definitely. Well, I know, speaking as a Green member, I appreciate it, and I know Diane does as well. There's only so much resources in this state that these groups can offer. So it's important that we unite, especially when our values are so similar. I think it's a shame there are groups out there that aren't jumping on board this campaign, and we all only have so many resources. So there's groups out there that don't get involved in electoral politics, and I understand that side of it. I get the idea that we need to build actual socialism in our communities by doing things that are more in line with local education programs, local food programs, local things, and I totally get that, and I in my own organizing have tried to focus more on that, but elections remain a part of it. And, when we see elections going on and there are anti-capitalists involved here in New Jersey, I think it's important that we support each other as a community. And people that are shying away right now or don't want to support Diane, I think it's shame on them for not getting behind such a great example of the kind of anti-capitalist that comes out of New Jersey. We belong in New Jersey fighting for this kind of stuff. I just want to say that. So, and we've supported candidates now that we can be extraordinarily proud of, like the AMP candidates in Newark, like Zelly Thomas in Patterson, that Diane herself personally went up there and walked for Zelly Thomas. So, I think that's important to keep in mind when groups are helping each other out, that we prioritize helping anti-capitalists here in New Jersey run. I just think that's important. Diane, do we have more groups coming on board? Have we made contact with other organizations that may be helping out along the way?
Well, we've got our Green Party support also from caucuses,
right?
The Latinx caucus through Support My Way. I'm so happy to have the Socialist Party endorsement. It's hard as a third party candidate that other groups might be afraid or timid to get involved, but there isn't, even in some of those groups, there's some great people that are coming out and helping and volunteering. So people are all, doing what they can do. And like we were talking about, different groups have different ideas about electoral politics and how their organizations are going to get involved with that at this time. And that's fine. We could still have, we could still all work together on issues. Like I said, from any organizations out there that have the anti-capitalist perspective and are not afraid to, embrace socialism, please, as I said, you could get in touch with my, through the Facebook Messenger, through the campaign Facebook page, or through the website, moxleyforus.com. So, even if you, just give one afternoon between now and Tuesday, November 6th, that's how we get things done. We're reaching out to people, we're talking to people, and with the Green Party, I'm looking forward to, even after Election Day, a good shot. We're going to continue to fundraise and build this campaign for 2 years from now, and just keep on going. But it's bigger than that. It's about getting our message out, and it is about engaging in communities. We've been wanting to do work throughout this district to engage with communities and find out what they are needing and looking for. I know we have some interested activists who want to do some, activism and organizing with the communities in Dover and the surrounding areas. We'll probably try to find the right areas to do that in Union County, and hopefully pick an area in Somerville.
Okay, cool.
And really find out, how can we meet communities' needs right now. So it's electoral politics, and it's about messaging and engaging with communities.
One of the ways that we engage and get our message out in electoral politics is debates, right? We have different viewpoints offered. Now, I've seen debates where it's a Democrat and a Republican. And then I've seen debates, particularly New York gubernatorial debates, where Howie Hawkins has participated, and the Libertarian Fool it makes it very entertaining at times. But it's way better than the debates I think when we laugh. So Diane, will you be involved in any debates coming up?
Well, there are candidate forums with nonpartisan groups that seem a little bit more open to including third parties. The League of Women Voters was trying to organize something for early October, and it looked like that was coming together. They reached out to me. I know they reached out to the Leonard Lance campaign and the Tom Malinowski campaign. This was in the end of July. It looked like things were coming together, and then all of a sudden, a few weeks later, things fell apart. I don't know what happened, but I know we're all, League of Women Voters. It's a nonpartisan group that I'm sure they're volunteer run, but we were disappointed that fell apart. But there is, on Wednesday evening, there is a few disability organizations that reach out to the communities of people with disabilities that are doing a great candidates forum at the Hunterdon County Library, the one in Clinton. Mm-hmm. That's Wednesday evening from 6 to 8. So I will be at that, and I know all of the candidates in CD7 were invited, but we did just find out the beginning of last week, so less than a week ago, that there is a debate that's held by the Gateway Chamber of Commerce that we were not invited to. We were not reached out to at all. So a couple of people from our campaign, one in particular, actually, as soon as he found out about it, he went down to the Gateway Chamber of Commerce office to find out what was going on. And sounds like he was a very lovely gentleman, but for some reason we were told that in order for me to appear, I had to get the permission from Tom Malinowski's campaign and Leonard Lance's campaign. I don't know if they required permission getting when they were seeking out Tom and Leonard. I have a feeling that was just a given. So I don't understand why I need to ask for permission, but that was...
Seems like the wrong word.
Yeah.
It seems like the wrong word. Permission?
Doesn't seem very democratic. I'm on the ballot. I am a viable candidate.
Yes.
You're
not a white man though, so...
Yeah, and I'm not an elite white man.
That's strike one with our system, right?
Yeah, I'm not elite. I'm not a white male. So perhaps that had something to do with it. But we had volunteers, and our, people on our campaign had reached out to Leonard Lance's office and to Tom Malinowski's campaign office. I know there were multiple, phone calls, emails, days ago. I think it was Tuesday and Wednesday. We've had no response whatsoever.
Unbelievable.
No response.
I mean, this is one of the usual games, right? They ignore us to try to pretend like we're not there.
We don't exist. Make me, really just try to stick that non-viable label by just ignoring our existence.
Mm-hmm.
I'm for more democracy. I'm for, open up the debates. I'm on the ballot. We get called out a lot by neoliberals as being spoilers. Well, let my voice be heard then, and let's, give me a fair shot. Give me a fair fight. Hear my voice. Hear my platform.
That's true.
I'm not a spoiler. I'm a valid candidate. We're running a serious campaign.
You're the best. You're the best candidate.
Thank you. But it's also ironic that it's like people talking out of both sides of their mouths, because some of the neoliberals will then call me a spoiler, and I don't get it. Which is it? I have no power, or I have all the power in the world to make Tom Malinowski move. I don't understand. It's double speak.
Let's say, John, how do you deal with that spoiler argument? What's the line from Socialist Party?
Oh yeah, well, I see it as, it's kind of like there's this sort of Stockholm syndrome where we're two parties and two ideologies, and that's it. And
but it's not even two ideologies; it's one ideology.
Exactly. I'm being very
It's
generous.
neoliberalism.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm being very generous with that. Because the people who say these things, that's how they view it. We see things differently, obviously, being to the left of just.
We just got.
I'm sorry.
There we go, John. That's right.
There I am.
A little bit of technical issues. You're back.
Yeah. Okay, where was I?
Ideologies. Ideologies.
Oh yes. Okay, sorry. Yeah, and it's out. So obviously, I know the history of the Socialist Party a bit better than I do of the Greens. So I'll use them as an example. So the Socialist Party of America, which was the precursor, for those who don't know the history, in 1973, the party had a convention. It split into three different groups, one which no longer really exists in any functional way. Then you have the Democratic Socialist Organizing Committee, which became what we now know as the DSA. And then there's us. So the Socialist Party of America at one time had over 1,000 elected office members all throughout the country, even members of the House, the United States House of Representatives. So when we say that third party, that's another thing. Referring to anything as a third party is a bit ridiculous, because there shouldn't just be three. That's not representative of anything. Yeah. It's really just pointing out the logical fallacies in these arguments, and then also a lot of time the math never really adds up. Like, I have a lot of experience. They always like to cite the Nader in what was that, in 2000, and it's like, okay, but all these other candidates in Florida got enough votes that you can make that argument for anyone. But what it comes down to it is, if you're a socialist, if you're a green, if you're a communist, if you're, many kinds of those terms under the leftist umbrella, you're not voting for these two parties. You're not voting Republican. You're not voting Democrat. There's over 100 million people in this country who don't vote at all. Why? I always look for those angles.
And you hear a lot of criticism that those people are called like the source of the problem, but I don't blame them at all. I actually see their point. Because what is the system giving them? What is the system giving me that I should vote for the lesser of two evils and generally just screw myself anyway? So why not? Why stay home? I vote for Daffy Duck all the time. I think he would make a better elected official than most Democrats or Republicans.
Oh yeah, I get looked at sideways for suggesting that not voting is a viable an essential part really of the democratic process.
I do not criticize non-voters. I think they're speaking their mind.
Exactly.
And I think their message is the one that needs to be heard the most, probably, that they don't give a fuck. Because that's a pretty important message that people aren't getting, right?
Yeah.
Diane,
Yeah,
can you make that a new campaign slogan? Most people don't give a fuck.
In addition to unfuck the world.
Unfuck the world. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe
Yeah.
one of the smaller.
Actually, you know what's interesting? I remember it was right after the primaries were over, and we knew that Trump and Clinton were the nominees. Actually, the New York Times, I think it was, put out a report that, and the premise behind it was they crunched all the numbers, they had all the math, they showed it all, and when it came down to it, 9% of the people in the United States of America decided who the two nominees for the two major parties would be. 9%. That doesn't seem like democracy to me. 9%.
It's not. It's definitely not. We are running a little short on time. I could sit here all night and talk with these comrades. John, this is the first time you've been on NJRR, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll let you go first with your plugs. How can we contact you, Socialist Party? What events you got coming up? How are you taking your next steps to the revolution, and how can we get involved?
That's a lot of questions. You can hit me up via email at it's jpcnjsp@gmail.com. That's the email I use for any like party based work.
Gotcha.
I do chair the Central New Jersey local, so let's see, what do we have coming up? It's in the early stages, but in November, where a bunch of us are participating, Central New Jersey, North Jersey, I believe the Wobblies, I think maybe one of our New York City chapters, we're putting together an event in Newark, sort of like just like a general, like, kind of socialist conference, if you will.
Yes, I've heard some of this. You're gonna keep you're gonna keep NJRR in the loop on that, right?
Yeah. I think
Good.
I even saw your guys.
A little birdie told me something. Yes.
Yeah. As far as like a website, it's socialistpartyusa.net. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. And Diane, you may have mentioned some stuff, but let's make sure we get it all out. What's going on with Moxley for Congress? How can we support you?
Okay, sure. Again, go to moxleyforus.com. There's a form to fill out for volunteers on the website. And also, like I said, this campaign, I'm looking long game. We're, as long as everything plays out okay, this is just the beginning. So we need to make sure all of our voices are heard. So you can let Gateway Chamber of Commerce know that you were not happy about. There's also another candidate running. I think he leans more towards conservative or libertarian in CD7. I think his name is Greg.
Nah, it's not important.
MELE. I don't think he's done much, but I wish him good luck. We all have to
not if he's a libertarian. I don't wish him good luck.
Okay.
Diane's too nice. Diane's way too nice.
Yes, I am. So we could let Gateway Chamber of Commerce know that democracy is about having all voices heard. We also are trying to get my campaign acknowledged by News 12 New Jersey. They did a debate that aired over the weekend, but again, we don't find out about these things, even though we have people on this researching. They actually hide the info from us until after it's out, so we don't know. So we're at least trying to ask, News 12 New Jersey, do the right thing. They have had the candidates on individually. They also had our super awesome candidate, Madeline Hoffman, who's running for U.S. Senate, on. So there's no reason they can't have me on. And like I said, we're asking, Gateway Chamber of Commerce, keep your debates open. If you're nonpartisan, stay nonpartisan. Yeah. Don't just be beholden to neoliberal politics. And, Tom Malinowski puts out there that he stood up to dictators, but apparently he can't stand up and debate. Diane. I don't know
Wow.
what he's afraid of if he stood up to dictators. So I'd say, hey, let's all meet. Leonard, Tom, myself. Let's have a debate.
I'm sure New Jersey Revolution Radio could figure out how to host one. It can't be that hard.
I think we
Maybe
could.
we should.
could figure that out.
I would definitely talk to the other candidates if they're willing to do that. But somehow I think they're avoiding you. I think they are.
Am I more intimidating than foreign dictators?
If you're a war criminal, you are. If you're an honest person,
is little old
then no.
Diane more intimidating than dictators?
I guess so. It must be. Well, look, we appreciate you coming on. We're looking forward to seeing more. Of course, if you want to support democracy, I think you support work like what my comrades on tonight are doing. So please check them out where you can. And check all of us out. The NJRR community is going to have its first gathering to celebrate 100 podcasts. And that's going to happen on October 18th in Montclair, New Jersey at the Trend Tea and Coffee House, 411 Bloomfield Avenue. We're going to get going around 7:30. Diane is going to host some kind of green panel. We haven't figured it all out, but she's going to host some of it. Christian Perez is going to be up there. Heather's going to be up there from Wine, Women, and Revolution. Jackie Wenzel, who's working on the Saving 32 Acres campaign, along with Randy Alston, who's been fighting her school board and the racism going on in Ventnor, is going to be up there. So I'm looking forward to seeing all my comrades come by, plan on coming on by, and of course, if you can donate, go to that GoFundMe page and make your donation. Thank you very much. I'm out of breath. I got to go.
Yep.
All right. Stay socialist, everybody.
Absolutely.